Hello and welcome to Tomlin's Harmonica Podcast, where I'll be hanging out with players and teachers and having conversations loosely based around harmonica. This week's podcast is part of a series where I'll be interviewing beginners rather than pros. Today's guest is Frans from Sweden, who started playing a few years ago and has already achieved some of his goals, including playing with a band. Okay, so today we are joined by Frans. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this, Frans. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Excellent.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're from and what you do?
Yeah, I'm from Sweden, in a town called Örebro. It's between Stockholm and Gothenburg, almost in the middle there. I work as a board secretary here in the municipality.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And English isn't your first language, but you're doing a fantastic job. I'm very, very impressed. I'm glad that I don't have to try and do it in Swedish because I don't have any Swedish whatsoever. So tell me, why did you choose to pick up the harmonica in the first place?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I grew up with Swedish folk and rock music, and there was a song my father often played called Kungsholmskopplet by Eldkvarn. And it has a really nice harmonica part in it. And when I was 18 and moved to Uppsala for studies, I had I had a lot of ideas of who I was going to be, and I bought a harmonica just wanted to start playing. However, I didn't play much. Just did some tabs, just some melody. Heart of Gold by Neil Young. I played a lot.
Nice.
But for 4 years ago, I moved back to Örebro, and I started to play more harmonica. I discovered J.P. Allen, his beginning course. And I studied also one master year in Örebro University. Mm-hmm. And there I got in contact with a harmonica teacher, a student that also learned out harmonica. So I did I did 10 courses with him, and I really got to like harmonica more. And around there, I discovered the way of mouth playing.
Puckering, yeah.
Yeah, puckering. And it really opened up a lot of possibilities. I started to learn to bend, and then it gets much more funnier.
Definitely. And so, before you were puckering, what were you doing? What kind of technique were you using?
Straw.
Oh, the U block.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a really interesting point, because I know a lot of people who start off with U blocking. Did you find it difficult to transition from the U block to the lip pursing?
No.
Okay.
No. I really fell in love with lip pursing immediately.
Very cool. Very cool. And so, what's been the biggest struggle since you started learning harmonica?
Well, I'm not from a musical background, so the most difficult part have been to really understand notes and what key fits in a song, and what crossover playing means, and it was a puzzle for me.
Yeah, and have you kind of begun to understand the different positions and how to fit them into different music?
Yeah, I definitely have printed in the 12 bar blues, and I have the benefit to play with other people as well.
Oh, cool. Is
Yeah,
that with a band?
yeah.
Nice.
Uh,
What kind of stuff do you play?
Blues.
Blues.
Yeah,
Very cool. And
yeah.
was there anything that you were nervous about when you started learning the instrument, or did it feel quite easy and comfortable?
I was nervous. I was really nervous starting to play with other people because I, they say they play in E, and I say I know I need have an A harmonica, and but there are so much more around that
Hmm.
with the uh, music theory and me-
Melody and harmony.
yeah, yeah. And a friend there he works with music.
Hmm.
He actually had some music theory lessons with me in exchange of going out with my boat and fishing.
Nice.
Yeah. So I really these last 4 years I really had a I learned a lot,
Nice.
both music and harmonica.
That's great. Yeah, I think harmonica players when they first start, they think that they don't need to understand music theory, and actually it makes learning a lot easier if you just have a little bit of knowledge of music theory and how melody fits in with harmony and all that kind of thing. What would you say is kind of the biggest achievement that you've had so far on the instrument? What kind of made you feel really great about it?
Well, actually, I had a really experience for these last 2 weeks. I had a meeting here in my apartment with some people that play harmonica, and many of them were real musicians who play other instruments, have and started to play harmonica, and you can heard that they play musical and they understand music.
Hmm.
However, when we talked, I learned I understand I knew the techniques better than many of
Nice.
them, and talked about how they could bend and uh, that two should be the root note draw to
Uh-huh.
and such things. And then I felt, yeah, I knew
You know
something.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's very cool. And what are your longer term goals in learning to play? Where do you want to go with the instrument?
Um, well, I just want to be able to pick up the harmonica and really make the crowd like the music I play.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but also, I feel like I fulfill some of my goals already because when I now play with other people and I really understand that what I'm playing is doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, that's a huge goal, and it's brilliant that you've already achieved it. It's very cool. So on your journey so far of learning harmonica, who have been the players that have really inspired you?
Mm. Yeah, I must say because I played a lot of folk in the beginning. I would say Eld Kvarn, who I started
Hmm.
to playing, and Neil Young, Bob Dylan. But it's starting to get harder to listen to Bob Dylan. It's a different way of playing, but I still love his music. And recently, I when I started to play more blues, Howling Wolf, and all these blues, classical blues musicians.
Very cool. It's an interesting transition. I think a lot more people start playing harmonica because of Neil Young and Bob Dylan than anyone else. But you know that usually people start with Neil Young and Bob Dylan, and then they start to hear some slightly more kind of technically proficient players, and they think, oh, there's more I can do with the instrument, and it sounds like you've kind of trod that path. Okay, so I'm going to put my teacher hat on and check in on how you're practicing. What's your routine look like?
On a good day, you have 15 minutes before I go to work. When I do just doing this month, I'm at the warm up, mm-hmm. And then this morning I'm now at month 9 on the what's the word in English?
Intermediate
course, and I did this 16 notes. Mm-hmm. Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And then I end by playing, doing the putting all together rumba.
The rumba blues, very cool.
Doing it 2 times, and then I go to work. And when I come home from work, if I have time, I will not always have time to play, mm-hmm. But then I play more technical and really more dig in with the metronome and such.
Very cool. Yeah, it's I find that it's easier if you can play in the morning, if you can get just a little bit of time in the morning and then it's done, and it's harder to play after your day is kind of over. If I don't practice in the morning, I always say to myself, okay, I'll catch it later, but I never do. So it's something I've got to try and kind of get in there at the start of the day. So I've started asking students what their top tips are for people who are just starting out. So what would you tell yourself if you met yourself just as you were beginning to play harmonica? What advice would you give yourself?
Really practice the blues scale, up and down, and then listen to a lot of classic blues, and then you sooner or later understand that it can fit doing a 12-bar blues, and also trying to make it quicker up and down the blues scale, like the inside outside blues, mm-hmm. Scale. Just the diatonic blues scale.
Nice. I think that's great advice. And just for people who don't know what the inside out blues scale, it's basically once you've learnt the blues scale in sequence, kind of up and down, you then throw some spanners in the work and start to play it kind of back to front and inside out and diagonally, just to really test your kind of mental map of it. So Frans, I'm mindful of taking up too much of your time, and I'm really grateful that you spent some time with me today. Before we call it a day, I was wondering if you have any questions for me.
Will there be another Edinburgh session?
Workshop.
Yeah, workshop.
Yes, yeah. So people might not know, but this year there's been something called COVID, and that changed everything. So we were supposed to do a harmonica workshop in May 2020, but we had to cancel because of travel restrictions and all that kind of thing. So yes, I will be doing more workshops. I'm still not sure when we'll be able to do it. I'm very tentatively hoping May 2021, but I can't be certain, and I don't want to start opening the ticket line and things like that until I'm absolutely sure, because we might have a second wave, or who knows. But yes, there will be more Edinburgh harmonica workshops.
Yeah, I really looked forward to it during the first months of the years, and then damn COVID.
I know. I'm always very excited about it. It's I think it's important, if you're learning harmonica online, to make sure that you do still have interaction with people, and you are interacting with a band, and that's great. But there are people out there who don't have access to other musicians. So if you can get to an event wherever you are in the world, it's really, really positive. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for this. It's been really interesting and great chatting to you. And maybe we can do a follow-up in a couple of years' time and hear how you're getting on, see if you're doing worldwide tours with your band and doing epic harmonica solos in stadiums. All right. Take it easy. Happy harping.
Happy harping. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Tomlin's Harmonica Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review on your podcast player of choice. Join me next Monday for the next episode. Happy harping!